Welcome to Taking Healthy Back with Maria, with your host, Maria Malec, experience coach, conscience educator, and destination retreat host, presents to you countless ways to overcome an overwhelmed, overprocessed, and overmedicated lifestyle. She'll be covering everything wellness, from getting more from life than you put into it, destination retreats to healthy cooking and conscious education. So please welcome the host of Taking Healthy Back with Maria.
How's it going, wellness seekers? Welcome back to Taking Healthy Back with Maria. I'm your host, Maria Malec, and all my guests are special. Today we have Brian Martin. Title of this show is Widowed Dancer Beyond Grief Through a 1-Minute Video. Brian shares his profound journey through grief and resilience, finding hope and joy amidst the darkest times. Through his widowed blog and dancing on social media, Brian discovered the power of community and gratitude in overcoming grief. Brian offers a beacon of light for those navigating with their own grief journeys. Welcome, Brian.
Hey, how are you?
I'm
Good to see you again.
awesome. I know, I love you. And this isn't Brian's first time on Taking Healthy Back. 2 years ago, we did an interview, and where he's been in the past 2 years, I just wanted to bring him on again to update what's going on in his life and how he's impacting the masses, and literally the masses. Brian, I'm so happy to have you here. And it's so exciting what's going on in your life. Now, if there's repeat watchers, I don't want to get into all the same things that we talked about, but for our new viewers, I want them to know how you got to this place and how you wrote your book and what has happened with these 1-minute videos. So please share.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. It's always fun to see you. And it's amazing how our worlds collided and now we're friends. So it's very, very cool. But yeah, just briefly for all of your listeners that don't know my story, in 2017, my dad passed away. He was overmedicated. He was on a lot of opioids, and then he added alcohol to that. And then shortly after, 4 months after that, my partner at the time, Clayton, was overmedicated by doctors. He had a fungal infection, and it basically sent him into liver failure. So I took care of him, and he passed away 10 months after my dad had passed away. So I had a lot of stuff happen all of a sudden in my life, and I didn't really know what to do. I was still helping my mom, like trying to work through grief with my dad and all of that stuff. So it was compounded. And it's hard enough to deal with one loss, but to deal with two, I was by myself in a new location. We had moved really just before he got sick. So I didn't have a lot of friends. I was really lonely. And started to look into the wellness world, because I'm kind of really nervous to take medication after things that I've watched and things that I've seen. I'm sure we'll talk more about that. But yeah, I was writing a widowed blog for Soaring Spirits International. They asked me to write every week and represent the LGBTQ community. So I reluctantly said yes, and it ended up turning out to be a huge therapy for me. And we hit 2020, the world shut down, and I got very depressed. And everyone was jumping on social media and dancing, and I said I love dancing, so what if I just commit to doing one of these a day for myself and go from there? And it exploded all of a sudden, and the following started, and Instagram started to have reels, Facebook started to have reels, and that's when my social media really blew up, because it was easy to share my grief blog on Facebook, and my everyday story I was sharing, so my friends and family knew I was okay. But now I started gaining all these followers, and I'm at 1.1 million on Facebook alone, and it's incredible, the community that's come together.
That just blows me away because there's so many people out there who are trying really hard, and you were just doing it to make yourself feel better.
Hmm.
And that's what's really amazing. And through all that, I mean, I've seen you've been on the news, you've been on, I don't know, maybe hundreds of podcasts. You've been featured all over the place. And we share a common mission in taking healthy back. And Brian and I are brand partners of the same company. And you could see behind him that he has a whole lot of stuff representing our company. And it it just is amazing to me how one just stacked on the other. So tell us about the business part of it, because I know you're helping people and impacting lives through the grief arena, but now on the health arena, whole
Hmm.
body health. So tell us about that, and what's going on with that.
It's stuff comes into your life when you need it. Well, I mean, we're always so often we're wasting time wondering and wishing and going, when is this going to happen? And then all there it is. And after I had lost Clayton, I hadn't taken care of myself, so
Mm.
it that whole situation pushed me to the opposite end of self-care. Like, I was eating junk because I had to rush and do everything and work, and like I was drinking 3 energy drinks a day just to manage working
Oh,
full time. I was a director at an aquarium. I had to manage a whole staff of people with animals, large animals, endangered species. Like, I had to show up every day and I had to be alert and there. So basically, I put myself into this tizzy of just shoveling in terrible food to make it through the day and constant caffeine, and
mm,
and none of that stuff is natural. And that pushed me into a health situation. Once Clayton had passed away, I went to the doctor and he almost rushed me to the hospital because my blood pressure was so high. So he instantly wanted to put me on blood pressure medicine and antidepressants, and
mm,
I did not. I couldn't. I was so scared. I said, I told him I was scared and terrified, and I said, I can deal with loss. I can figure this part out. Like,
mhm.
I don't want to be numb. Don't make me numb. And he said, you're gonna have to have you're gonna have to at least take the blood pressure medicine that you're going to, because you're gonna have a heart attack. So I reluctantly said I would take that. And I called my sister, and I was so scared and so upset. The blood pressure medicine made me so dizzy. I fell at work in front of a big animal.
Oh,
It was a lot at once, because now I was fearing for my own life, still grieving 2 people, worried about my mom losing her son. And I called my sister, who is also in the same wellness company, for different reasons, her start. But she was like, we have got to get you off those energy drinks. We've got to get you eating better, drinking water, and supplements. And so she just gave me some as a gift. And after like 5 days, I started to feel so much better because I was putting in better nutrition and these supplements that were bioavailable. Like, it was in my science brain, it clicked. I can't believe I've been a biologist for so long and it just never occurred to me to really dive into this. Like, I would buy supplements and I got it, but I would get them from the grocery store. I wouldn't
mm,
really realize that some of them are synthetic and made in a lab, and our bodies just don't know what to do with that. So all
right,
of that stuff happened at the same time, and I realized I had the education and the passion and then the drive from the fear of loss that I could
right.
help people. And I started to grow the business, and I've helped almost 7,000 people at this point start
Wow.
learning. And yeah, the stories I hear are similar to mine. Like, it's so rewarding to me to help people just clear the chemicals out and switch over to botanical stuff and watch them thrive. It's incredible.
Do you address with people the different ways that they self medicate during grief? And I know food, alcohol, drugs, those are all kind of normal things. And we don't even realize what we're doing when we're doing it because we just want to feel better. You
Yeah.
know, how come before the grief, your sister maybe couldn't get you to see where she was at with this company and the benefits of it? Why couldn't you see that before then?
I was in such a fog. I didn't have the bandwidth to add anything else. I was in total fight or flight mode. Like if we're gonna
Mhm.
if we're gonna stick to biology and animals, it was I you never realize how you can go into autopilot to try to help save other people and make
Right.
sure that your environment or at least your home is as safe as possible. You like you the switch flips and you start doing stuff that you couldn't fathom that your emotional state could somehow manage. And it's not that it's not healthy, and I'm always careful to remind everybody I'm not a therapist. I have a lot of training in psychology and biology and animal training, so I've used that to help myself break down things and build things back up and reinforce myself along the way. So what I say is my experience. I just like to say that out loud because, I don't want anybody to think, oh, this must be a grief therapist. I'm not. I just share my journey. And it's you when you're in a storm. You can't see 2 feet in front of you when you're going through that, even when somebody has the answer.
Right,
I
right.
think that was my case.
Yeah, and I do notice in society that most people won't make changes until they have to. It's a dire situation, like you with a critical health issue like high blood pressure.
Mhm.
What what kind of things did you change either to or from that you would, well, I guess not to, but what won't you put in your body now that before you had no problem other than energy drinks and caffeine? Has it led to a greater awareness? Has it actually opened up your world to more goodness that you can put in and on your body?
Yes, I had when this all started, I mean, before all this started, if I didn't feel well, if I had head tension, soreness, or anything like that, I didn't think twice about grabbing an aspirin. I didn't think anything of just like putting on, like, if I have asthma, so I would have chest rubs, and I'd be cleaning with harsh cleaners thinking that I had to, and it would be irritating, obviously, my respiratory system. But I thought I had to do that stuff, so I didn't think twice about it. And then after understanding, working with animals and working with veterinarians and seeing how they regulate it's seeing that medical side and dosing and stuff like that. I learned an awful lot in 23 years. And so when everything happened with Clayton and they were using big words and they were using medications and they weren't testing his liver, I was like, hold on a
Mhm.
second. And I was questioning that, and they stopped talking to me because we weren't married, and I got shut out of the room, and he just listened to the doctor. So all of this stuff happened, and I don't, obviously I wish he was still here, but I have gratitude for the lessons that I learned because it
Mhm.
made me question the authority, um,
Right.
and that made me question everything. And when I did that, I was like, hold on a second. Why am I using harsh cleaners when I could be using natural stuff and it works? Why am I reaching for aspirin when I could really just be working on calming myself? Using oils can be very relaxing. That can help bring your
Right.
blood pressure down. Supplements, start eating better, start drinking more water. Like, I just started to see all these things fall into play. And we all know that, drink water. We all know that. But it
Right.
it doesn't
Hey,
click
Brian,
the
I hate to interrupt you. Let's take up. We got a break to go to, and we'll circle back to this when we get back. Thanks.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. Rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies. Find settings that allow them to be the most productive and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Hello, Wellness Seekers. Welcome back to Taking Healthy Back with Maria. We're here today with Brian Martin, author, digital creator, and we were just talking about some of the different things that he does in the natural realm that supports his sustained wellness. So I know, you were talking about things we all know, water. What are some other things that you do to keep your wellness elevated?
I think, I mean, besides cleaning out everything in my home, all the cleaners are natural, everything all laundry detergent, all my supplements and stuff. Making sure what I'm eating, I'm way better about that now. I allow myself to have stuff. I think there's a little balance. Every once in a while, you need some
Of
Chinese
course.
food and birthday cake.
You do
But
look like you've slimmed up. I mean, I never thought that you were overweight, but as of late, you look like you leaned out. So it shows.
yeah, I definitely just flushing my system, doing resets and doing a detox here and there. You'd be amazed though that there's a lot of stressors in the chemicals that we use, and it causes
Mhm.
endocrine disruption. It can mess with your cortisol levels, and from a biology standpoint, cortisol it's the stress hormone in all animals, and it will make you gain weight. And even though you're eating the same amount or eating less, your body just goes into fight or flight, and it just holds on to everything. So it's really making sure that I have good nutrition. Sleep is so important, giving
Mm.
yourself rest, and then doing stuff that you find fun, doing things that and I love fishing. I've gotten married again. My husband and I live in an amazing place. We're right on the water. We have access to the
Mhm.
bay. I have crab traps. So I catch crabs, and then I can like make stuff for my neighbors. And I love doing that. And just dancing around my kitchen. Literally, the simple things in life that bring you joy can bring you so much positive energy, and that is a huge part of wellness.
Right. And just to touch upon the different chemicals in the things that we put in and on our body, a lot of people don't make the connection to their emotions with those chemicals. And
Mhm.
we don't have a special chute that chemicals leave our body. So they get lodged in our organs, in our fat tissues, in our connective tissue. And when people think that they're doing all the right things, but they're still sad or they're still having erratic emotions, anger, even, it's because of those kinds of things that we're not even making the connection. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. And I think it's interesting that you brought up anger, because from an emotional standpoint, like different emotions go into different parts of your body. Like your lungs, that's grief, and your liver is anger. So if your body's full of toxins, your liver's what gets rid of toxins. You're just, it's too much. And so it makes sense if your body's trying to filter out this bioaccumulation, which is a great word for your all of
right,
your people to
right,
know. I mean, you hear about it, like you have to be careful eating certain kinds of fish because it has a bioaccumulation of heavy metals, and you don't want to eat. It's the same concept. And yeah, you're making your liver angry. It makes total
right.
sense.
Yeah, I love that. So, excuse me for touching my face so much. I'm at my dad's house in New Jersey, and it's about 100 degrees in here, and I'm just sitting here sweating. So, I'm not fidgety for no reason. So, with the company that we're both associated with, you have really blossomed. I think I saw recently you're in your sixth or seventh year there.
Mhm.
And I've been in over 20 years, and you have far surpassed me because we have a different angle. I'm more of a consumer, and you definitely are a business builder. And your social media presence has actually amplified people's interest in wellness, which is so amazing to me. And I'm so proud of you for what you've accomplished. So you win trips, and I know you're with the foundation
Mhm.
perhaps for all the goodness that the company invests in, and you've also become a speaker, so I know you're going to be at convention and speaking. Tell me about, and the whole point of me bringing this up is I'm not trying to sell people on what we're doing, but I just want to show what has blossomed through some of the darkest days of your life, going from the pit to the peak. You probably never even thought that you would be at this place. If all this didn't happen, you probably wouldn't be here. So, can you talk about that, about the opportunities that darkness has brought into your life?
Yeah, there's, it's so crazy that like it's hindsight, right? But there's
Mm,
always gifts in grief, and I think people have a hard time with that because they get so focused on the loss and not continuing to live and grow from that. I mean, my writing has brought me so much relief personally, and that has expanded, and my dancing has expanded, and my I've been sharing this stuff for 6 years, long before there was social media, long before that was a real, even a thing. And
right.
so what's really amazing is how everything has fit together, and I share about it honestly, and I share about it because I truly love it and I really want to help people. And so the authenticity and the honesty makes it easy. Like I don't even like people have said like, "Oh, are you selling something?" And I'm like, I mean, technically if people want to buy it, they can, but I just love sharing it so much. And that's there's this weird magic where I've found all these people that think like me, are interested. There are some of my followers that are like, no, that's okay, we love the dancing and the bad jokes that you tell your husband, and this this
They're
just isn't
great.
a thing. And I think my mindset is I'm so grateful for everything that I'm not chasing anybody.
Right,
I have it out there, and when it's someone's time to walk into wellness, I'm here
right,
and the door is always open. If it's not, that's okay. We're still friends. It's not a big deal. I don't care if they, if they're like, "Hey, I love watching you for this," but like that's not my thing, that it doesn't bother me. So it's just become so natural. I've been The biggest gift is I am 100% myself all the time in front of everybody.
Mm.
And I I learned that through all of my loss. I only have so much time. And
Yeah.
why would I not be myself the entire time and waste time when I could do? And because of that, I have been able to have a positive impact on millions of people. And knowing the biggest gift, and I'll say, for anybody who really needs help, please reach out to someone. Please reach out to an expert. But I have had people reach out and message me and tell me that they were at a point in their life that they thought they were done, and they followed my story, and they decided they were not going to do that, and they were going to give it a shot, and they were going to get the help that they need, all because they saw me dance, or all because they saw me post my grief story, and then the next day I posted me smiling because I was having a good time with my dog. um, Being able to give that back to somebody is the biggest gift you could ever be given. So it's quite amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I have so many questions. I know you're going to be hosting some trips, and I know you have hosted cruises. Tell us about what's going on with that.
Yeah, more random things that you never thought.
Yeah.
My favorite oil is abundance, and let me tell you, it works. Yeah, we've just had so many people follow us. Yeah, there it is. So many people have follow us, and they just want to feel connected. And
Mm.
a big part of experiencing life is travel. So these cruise companies are like, hey, we'll throw something together. And if your people want to come, then why don't you all hang out? And so we've magically just been gifted these opportunities where we can set up trips, and we can go, my husband and I can see the world, and people can join us, and we can meet them, spend time with them, get to know, they know us. So now it's a chance for us to, really get to know them. Like we see them in the comments all the time, and you start to have a little bit of a relationship through social
Right.
media, but then being in person and being brought together with people like all over the world. We were gifted our honeymoon to Greece by a travel
Oh,
company
wow.
just because they really loved what we did, and we represent the LGBTQ community, and they just wanted to celebrate how many people were celebrating us. And even while we were over in Greece, we had a couple run up to us, and they're like, "We know you. You're the dancing guy."
Oh,
Yeah, and they were from Belgium. I was like, "This is like." It was
fantastic.
The trip was amazing to see places, but to be placed there and know that you're having positive impact across the world is just, it's a magical life right now.
That's fantastic. And I'm sure people are listening and they're saying, well, I guess Brian doesn't have any bad days. I don't think that's true, right? Tell us, do you have bad days and how do you manage out of them?
Everybody has bad days, and I think I try to be honest and share on social media where I'm at. So there's times where, for a long time, for 5 years, once a week I was writing a grief blog, and then the rest of the week they were seeing me dancing, and they're like, what, huh? And I'm like, I have to be honest with you all. Like, I've
Right.
had rough times during my week, rough conversations, or something happened and it brought up a memory and it was hard, and I decided I was going to sleep all day and I didn't want to do anything, and I gave myself grace for that. But we all have bad days. There's days where I'm continuing with my business, and maybe I was hoping that somebody I had talked to was ready and they didn't, and I've been a little down because I want to help them, but I know, well, it's not their time yet. Pick yourself up, Brian. There's more people out there. Or, there's mornings I don't feel like dancing. Like
Sure.
there's mornings I don't feel inspired. There's days where I'm just tired. Or like, something comes up in my family, and there may be something sad and I'm not ready to share about it, but we all have bad days. You just,
Sure. On that note, Brian, we have another break. So stay with us, folks. Thank you.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of the Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on the Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Hey, wellness seekers, welcome back to Taking Healthy Back with Maria. And I'm here with Brian Martin. We're talking about life after grief and how he did it naturally and all the things that has transpired through his experiences. Let me ask you, Brian, you wrote a book. Are you still writing on the blog? Do you still do a daily blog, or is that lessened? And do you have any plans for more writing in your future?
Yeah, I put a pause on it. I never say never. So after 5 years of writing almost every week about being widowed and loss, I had found a new relationship. I've mentioned a few times now I'm married, and the amazing thing is Devin is extremely understanding of what I went through, and I've always been very open about loss and sadness and moving forward. But I'm also I always talk about Clayton. I always talk about my dad. Like I've mentioned animals that I've lost, and that it's healthy, and it keeps their memory alive, and it validates that it's a part of your life. And he's so good. Devin is so good with that. So he was always very, very supportive of everything that I was doing. But when we got to that time, I was leaving my job in the animal field because I was going into this business full time. I could dedicate to that, but I wanted to give myself a break of constantly revisiting in a blog, even though it was therapeutic for me. So I said, I think 5 years, and now I'm starting this new chapter. I'm going to break up what I'm doing. And so, yes, I ended up taking my blogs. I wanted to publish them, and publishers said I'd have to rewrite them because grammar wasn't right. And I told them that grief doesn't care about grammar. I might have used some more colorful language in the middle of that statement because I was very mad. I was like, this is exactly how I want it. And so I self-published on Amazon. I mean, people can find it. I actually have it right here.
Oh, wow.
But I wanted to give myself some time. And since then, it's been almost 2 years. I find this drive, like I don't know, like my ears getting pulled and words come into my mind, and or something makes sense to share about this part of my journey and how I'm able to continue. So I've started to have posts again that are like a grief blog, but it's more
Mhm.
of like a real life and just where am I, and diving a little bit more into how my past blends into my present and maybe how I think of my future. And so I'm gonna keep writing. I'm not sure how I'm gonna get that out there, but it's definitely there's more ahead. There's words out there that people need.
Well, you've said it about 3 times how grief was a gift, is a gift. Me, I think a lot of people don't look at the low parts in our lives as gifts. And I've had many revelations in the past couple of days about the negative things, how they trigger me, but how those things were actually gifts for me to grow, expand, and transform myself and kind of die to my old self. It's been a painful process, but it's also been a refreshing and a rebirth, I'll call it. So tell us about finding love after loss.
Oh, that is something that is such a topic, and for a lot of people who follow us on social media, there was a lot of people that had a lot of opinions about that.
Really?
um, yes, there's this weird. Um, it's interesting how people will insert themselves into your what you're doing and what you're trying how you're trying to move forward. But yeah, so the interesting thing is me deciding I was going to dance for myself led to Devin seeing me dancing on TikTok, and then jumped over to Facebook. He started to read my blog, and he was going through a divorce. So a lot of my grief, even though it was loss, it was an
Mm.
actual person who passed away, he related to, because the person he fell in love with and married before um, had essentially died. And so that dream with that person, it was gone, and there's grief there. So it was all of what I was going through was pulls people together in strange ways, and he and I connected immediately. And I mean, it was from the time we started talking, it was hours every single day.
Mm.
Um, and the interesting thing is, I like I said earlier, I'm always upfront and I will always share where I'm at. And there were people that I had gone on dates with, and I would immediately share, hey, just let you know, I have lost somebody. It was a few years ago. I'm moving forward. And people didn't want to go out. They were like, you're broken. Nope. You're done. You're spent. That's it. Like, I can't handle that. Or I don't want you to say his name, like, because then it's a competition. And I was like, this is not right. You're not my person then. And so when Devin and I got together, obviously had those conversations, and he's like, I think it would be really weird if you didn't talk about him. Like,
Right?
it would be like, how easy is it for you to forget somebody or just never talk? Like, that's not healthy and it's not right. So it but our mindsets just work so well together in this situation. And he's brought up his past and the things he's gone through, and that I appreciate hearing that, not as a competition. It helps me understand him better and support him better. So we've had this very open relationship where we're like in great conversations with each other on our emotions and how we're moving through, plus social media, and everybody's watching what we're doing. And we had people tell me, don't talk about him anymore. Don't write your grief blog. That's awful for Devin. Or sending us messages and like that.
Weird.
Yeah, move on, get over it. Like, all of this stuff that's just not acceptable to say, that society has made it acceptable to say.
Right?
When you're widowed, you don't just die. You don't wear all black and live in a big house by yourself with 300 cats. Like, it's like, we're not stereotypes. We're not broken. Well, like, like, everybody goes through stuff. So It's been amazing. It's been strange to do it in front of the public, but I'm so grateful for him and what I have and what I get to live every day.
Well, I've noticed since you both have become public about your relationship that he's come out of his shell a little more. He seems like he's more reserved naturally, but he has opened up more, and he's super cute, and you guys are adorable together. And I just love the synergy and the mutual respect. To me, that is very evident. And I think that's really cool. And how has your fame affected him and affected your relationship? Do you still have privacy?
Yeah, we do. There's some things, some personal things that we talk about and what, our plans are. And, if something happens in the family, we will have a conversation about things, like, is this the right time? Do we share this? No, this is behind the boundary line that we have, that this is just ours. Um, so we also talk about that. He is definitely not as he is more reserved than me, is what I'm trying to say. But it is fun to see him. He gets goofy, and people get to see that, that fun side of him. He'll jump on. He loves cooking, so he'll go live and he'll do cooking shows now, and he gets a big kick out of it. So it's fun to see that side of him. But there's days he's like, I don't want to do a joke, and I'm like, that's okay, I get it. Like, he's in the middle of something, and I'm like, hey, can I do this? Because before I'd surprise him, and then
Right,
but also
right.
I have to be mindful. I don't know where he's at. Did he just get off the phone with somebody? Is he in the middle of something? So, I'm like, hey, could we do this right now? Or like, let's take some fun pictures, or let's go to dinner and we don't take our phones out at all. Like,
Oh,
so
good.
yeah, so we're navigating all of that. We make sure we don't share exactly where we are in our location right away, because we don't want people necessarily to come find us. That's a concern. We'll let people know maybe after, because we have people walk up to us in public and they know us, and it's
Yeah,
fun. But you also never know who might be walking up to you and what reason. So
for sure.
we'll have to be careful.
Yeah, so that's celebrity status. It's cool that you've gotten a handle on it. And I just think that everything that you have talked about from the time of experiencing deep, dark grief to now, how maturely you have handled it, how graceful you are about it, and even the people who, talk to you disrespectfully or inject their own opinions into your life. I have seen that you handle it really nice, and you always respond nicely and with kindness. And that seems to be your overall message is just be kind to each other, be joyful. Let's link arms together and, not separate ourselves. Has that always been your thing? I mean, did you grow up like that, or is this just something you've learned through the whole grief process?
I think it's a culmination of a lot of things. Growing up, I loved, like, we had a big family. I would love family gatherings. I'd love everyone be together. There are plenty of stories of me being in public on the bus as a kid and getting everyone on the bus to sing a song with me. Like, I think the world is better and the day is better if you help other people smile. And I was bullied really bad when I was a kid. I was very short, stocky, obviously did not know, I knew something was different about me, being gay. It took me a little while to figure all that stuff out and what that meant. That was an entire journey all in it, in getting to where I am. And my family's so supportive. But I think because I was always sometimes the person left out or the underdog, that now as an adult, I have the knowledge and the power to create safe spaces for
Mm,
everybody. On my social media, I don't talk about politics. I don't talk about religion. That is none of my business. At the end of the day, we're all humans,
Sure.
and we all deserve at least to feel safe. We can disagree as long as you're not actually hurting people and doing terrible things. Other than that, we can disagree. You don't have to agree. Your religion says one thing, my belief says another. At the end of the day, if we're opening the door for each other and smiling and saying, have a great day or have a great night, then it's a safer place for everybody. So I think growing up the way that I did has turned me into this. And then the loss, I think it all kind of clicked together.
Right. And we're about ready for another break, but I just wanted to say it doesn't cost anything to smile or say hello to people. And with that, we'll be right back. Thank you.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. Rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies. Find settings that allow them to be the most productive and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back, Wellness Seekers. We're here with Brian Martin, author and social media expert and phenomenon. We're at the end of this show. We're going to wrap things up. And I know Brian wanted to address something about mindset to close out our show today. So what have you got for us, Brian?
I think that people are always searching when they have a problem. They're always searching for the thing that's going to magically fix it. They're always searching for that magic pill. They're always searching for, sometimes when you lose somebody, I mean, you start searching for someone to fill that void right away. But there tends to be an emptiness, or it doesn't work out. Like if it's a relationship, they call it the rebound, and it never works, right? This isn't going to work. Oh, this is just the trial and test. But really, what it is mindset. Are you there? Are you there? Are you there for yourself? And I have been asked to speak at social media events that are not related to our business, that are not related to grief, that are just related to social media strategy. And which is interesting. I don't have a strategy. I am myself. But I have said that you have to be your number one fan. You have to have the mindset that no matter what, at the end of the day, you are there for yourself, and you will cheer yourself on, and you will tell yourself you did a good job. You made it through the day, however that looks, and you deserve that praise. Nobody else is going to give that to you. If you don't have that spark, no one can throw wood on your fire. Like they could throw tinder at you all day long, like in hopes that will, fan the flames. But if you don't even have a spark, nothing's going to get lit. up and you're not going to get lit up. And I think that mindset is so big, and starting small. All I did was make myself dance once a day to give myself 90 seconds of nothing but pure joy and music memories from things that I loved. And that did it for me. And I think you and I have had these conversations, and I'm actually going to bring something up, and you may be able to say it better than me. You brought something up that fits right along with this, because we're always looking for more people or things in our life. When is this coming to me? I'm putting it out in the universe that I want abundance, or I'm looking for this kind of a relationship or this kind of an experience. When is the thing happening? But you love to say, when are the people who are coming into my life? Bring the people that are going to get me to these things. And I think that is really interesting that you have that mindset. I love that.
Well, I believe that what is truly in our heart is what reflects out into the world. So what we reflect is what we attract. I think that's what you might be referring to. And yeah, so much goodness, Brian. Thank you so much for being here. I know you wanted to tell me a little bit about your practice with abundance oil, and tell us what you do with that and how it's changed. And we got about 4 minutes left, so
Okay.
bring it.
Well, there's lots of oils for emotional support and mindset. And I think, and some people could say it's psychosomatic. Some people, I have used oils and I personally know that they work. But I was putting abundance on my head because that's where I was told to put it. Think abundantly. You want to think in abundance and think, well, I was super creative, had all sorts of ideas, like sometimes so many I couldn't even keep myself like quiet at night and go to bed. And but I wasn't there. It wasn't in the moment. I was always thinking about it coming, but I wasn't there. Somehow I must have said, I want to know how I want to walk in abundance. And then it clicked. I was like, that's it. I don't want to think. I could think about abundance all day. Like, if you won the lottery, what would you do with it? I could tell you all those stories, but guess what? I didn't win it yet. So if I put this stuff on my feet, I was putting it in my mind that I was going to walk through the day in abundance. And I reminded myself that abundance is not necessarily materialistic stuff. So every morning I put it on both of my feet and I start looking for the abundance in my life because I know that it's there. And that makes me more grateful for the little things. Like if I see 2 butterflies, wow, I saw 2 butterflies today. That's really cool. If I see deer, I catch a fish, like I meet a new friend.
Right. That is abundance.
It's abundance. It's all being here with you. It's all abundant. So it's a mindset.
Love it. Well, thank you. I'm going to start putting it on my feet because I haven't been doing that, but I love the idea, the mindset, setting up the day with your intention that today is already a victory and I'm going to walk in abundance in all that I do. How's that?
Yep. I love it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brian, for honoring me with your presence again. You guys, that's all we have for today. And if you are invested in taking healthy back, look up Brian, find me everywhere, Taking Healthy Back with Maria, also takinghealthyback.com. And let's do this together. Let's link arms and let's get healthy together. Thank you so much, Brian, for being here. See you next week.
This has been Taking Healthy Back with your host, Maria. Tune in each week as Maria will empower you to put your wellness in your control right here, Fridays, noon Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network.